Initiating and implementing change at the organizational level is an extremely difficult and complex task. Organizations must remain flexible in today's marketplace in order to survive, as markets have become fast-changing environments with increasingly fluctuating demands. In order to do so, they must have change management strategies in place that will ensure their success and ability to adapt rapidly. This is not easy, as change initiatives are often met with resistance within an organization. Dr. John Kotter has identified 8 steps that an organization must take in order to enhance its ability to successfully implement any change initiatives. Dr. Kotter is currently the Konosuke Matsushita Professor of Leadership Emeritus at the Harvard Business School. He is an expert on the topics of leadership and transformation, and co-founder of the transformation consulting firm Kotter International. Kotter International is a change company that helps leaders build the capacity to drive transformation in their organizations. Dr. Kotter introduced the 8-step change process in his 1995 book entitled Leading Change. According to Dr. Kotter, approximately 70% of all major change efforts in organizations fail. Although the change process at an organizational level is complex and unique to individual organizations, research shows that there are common characteristics that can be identified when determining why change management efforts or initiatives have failed. The top 10 contributing factors to this failure are lacking a plan to guide the change, failure to define a clear rationale for change, ignoring the organization's culture, lack of follow-up by the sponsors of change, not investing enough resources into the change effort, gaps or inconsistencies in change agent skills, haphazard or inconsistent communication during the change process, fear of feedback and or of failure, declaring success too early in the change process, and neglecting to reinforce change. Dr. Kotter's 8-step change model provides a holistic approach to the change process. Organizations must take all these steps into consideration before implementing a change initiative in order to ensure the initiative's successful completion. In today's fast-paced environment, organizational leaders are well aware that change needs to happen, but do not know how to go about delivering it. Where do they start? Whom do they involve? And how do they see these change initiatives through to the end? Dr. Kotter's 8-step change model was designed for the 21st century in the light that a sense for innovation and change management needed to be brought to organizational leaders. The 8 steps are summarized as follows. Step 1. Establishing a sense of urgency. Step 2. Creating the guiding coalition. Step 3. Developing a vision and strategy. Step 4. Communicating the change vision. Step 5. Empowering employees for broad-based action. Step 6. Generating short-term wins. Step 7. Consolidating gains and producing more changes. Step 8. Anchoring new approaches in the culture. Dr. Kotter states, the most general lesson to be learned from the more successful cases is that the change process goes through a series of phases that, in total, usually require a considerable length of time. Skipping steps creates an illusion of speed and never produces satisfactory results. Furthermore, he warns, making critical mistake in any of the phases can have a devastating impact, slowing momentum and negating hard-won gains. Let's take a detailed look at each of these steps. Step 1. Establishing a sense of urgency. If companies fail to make needed change, it is because of this first step is often ignored. The need for change must be expressed, and the downside of the required change not occurring must be explained to every member of the organization. An organizational-wide discussion must begin to take place and be encouraged. Additionally, outside consultants or organizational partners can be brought in to add merit to the discussion and highlight the necessity for change to occur. This will establish a sense of urgency within the organization and create a consensus within the organization. To achieve a high sense of urgency, at least 75% of an organization needs to agree that change is needed. Once this has been accomplished, the organization is ready to move on to the next step of the change model. Step 2. Creating the guiding coalition. Implementing change will require a designated group of individuals to begin formulating the direction and methodologies that will be applied to the process. Members of this coalition should come from different departments and be intelligent and respected leaders. This will add credibility to the initiative and ensure organization-wide participation in the process. Differences amongst departments will arise during the process, so it is imperative that these differences can be reconciled so as not to disrupt the change from being implemented. One department of an organization should not be seen as benefiting at the expense of another. The coalition members must have common goals and be able to conduct meaningful and intelligent conversations about the initiative so that the process can stay on course and be communicated effectively. Step 3. Developing a vision and strategy. The ongoing discussions and discourse that have begun to take place in the preceding step will allow the development of a change vision for the organization to adopt. This vision needs to be imaginable and logical to show a clear picture of what the future will look like. It needs to appeal to the entire organization in order to create a common desire amongst the organization's members, and it must be deemed as feasible. This vision can be expressed in a 2 to 3 sentence vision statement that explains how the change will bring around the desired future of the organization. It should be focused and concise to provide guidance in decision-making during the change process. Additionally, the vision must have an element of flexibility in order to be able to adapt to the changing environmental conditions within and outside the organization as the change process occurs. Step 4. Communicating the change vision. The success of the change vision hinges on its ability to be successfully communicated to all members of the organization. Any vision for change must be straightforward, vivid, and beneficial to all organizational members and stakeholders. The change vision should be presented and discussed openly, allowing organizational members to express their concerns and fears about the change process that is about to occur. This will help allay any misunderstandings about the process that may hinder the change as it is being implemented. The vision should be applied to all operational aspects of the organization to enhance the vision as an organizational-wide objective. Leaders should also do more than just talk about the vision. Their actions and behavior should be guided by the vision statement. They should lead by example to encourage and enhance the change process. Step 5. Empowering employees for broad-based action. The members of an organization can pose as major obstacles to a change initiative. However, if incorporated into the process correctly, members can develop into agents that can enhance the change process' successful implementation. Addressing the concerns and fears of organizational members during Step 4 is not enough. Organizational members must be empowered to act with additional information about the vision. By including members in the development of ideas of how the vision should be achieved, organizational leaders will give them a sense of empowerment. Leaders should try to remove any barriers that hinder the vision's success and implementation by identifying those organizational members that have embraced the vision and have begun to act on the change process. These individuals should be rewarded and encouraged as they can act as a conduit of the vision by allaying any remaining skepticism and fear within other organizational members. Step 6. Generating short-term wins. The change process has been described as a long and challenging process. Therefore, it is essential that the long-term vision of an organization's future be broken down into a smaller set of successive activities that can be duly measured. This will allow the organization to manage its workload and identify problems in the change process as they occur. Attempting change in a series of smaller, shorter steps also makes the process more feasible. When short-term milestones have been reached, these successes can be celebrated and give organizational members a sense of accomplishment. This will ensure that morale remains high within the organization and that the change direction is maintained. Short-term wins should be attainable, inexpensive targets that have been thoroughly analyzed before being attempted. The purpose of this is to attempt to ensure their successes and enable the organization to develop counter-arguments to critics of the change vision. Step 7. Consolidating gains and producing more change. Generating short-term wins for innovation and successful change initiatives creates a great launching pad for organizations to continue change initiatives. Initial successes are to become the foundation for expanded and greater change within the organization. Lessons learned from short-term wins and the change methodologies adopted by the organization must become institutionalized to increase its ability to adapt to a changing environment. Once the benefits of short-term wins have been consolidated, organizational leaders and members seek to continuously improve on their newfound skills and enhance their ability to successfully attain the goals set out in the organization's change vision. To encourage continued improvement and to prevent stagnation, new change agents and leaders should regularly be added to the organization's change coalition. Step 8. Anchoring new approaches in the culture. Change initiatives should not be perceived by organizational members as a passing fad or trend within an organization. Changing demands in technology constantly require organizations to adapt and remain flexible. In a sense, the urgency for change that was developed and explained in Step 1 is something that the organization should never seek to lose. This will enhance the organization's members to learn how to implement change quickly and constructively in the future and lead to a culture that embraces innovation rather than fearing it. Leadership must set the tone for this vision and walk the talk of embracing change by rewarding innovative and creative employees for their efforts in implementing successful change initiatives. Dr. Kotter has acknowledged that the change process is a long and challenging experience that many organizations must endure. However, the 8-step change model is not a comprehensive guide to implementing a change initiative that guarantees success. However, if applied as basic guidelines to a change process, an organization will be able to mitigate some of the most common problems that impede success.